My name's Dave Dubeau, founder of MoneyPartnerFormula.com, and this show is built for everyday real estate investors who are actively doing deals and looking to scale using other people's money. So if you're an active real estate investor and you want to get featured on this show to talk about your own real estate and capital raising experiences, then just go to daveinterviewyou.com. Now let's get rolling with this episode, and remember to subscribe for daily interview content.
All right, guys, welcome to Property Profits Podcast. I'm your host, Bryce Kaminsky, filling in for Dave Dubeau. And have you ever wondered how an investor like Pankaj Dhir not only survived, but thrived in the dynamic real estate landscape during the COVID-19 era? Today, we're diving into his journey marked by strategic first refinance, joint ventures, and legal conversion in Edmonton. Pankaj, welcome to the show. How are you?
My pleasure. Thanks for hosting me. No, things are good. It's a little bit cool here in where we are in Toronto, but at least we don't have any snow yet to be worried of, and so I'm thankful for that.
It's global warming. It's the end of the world. It's all
go.
over.
This year has gone by pretty fast. So like I can't believe it's almost like another week left before Christmas.
Yeah, it flew by. I think it flew by primarily because people have been waiting for the market to turn. Like it's kind of like sitting on your hands and waiting, but some people are still fighting out there, or they're in a deal that they were already in, and you can't avoid what's happening in the current economy. But let's rewind it back to the start here, and let's look at that first refinance. Now, you started in the COVID-19 era investing outside of your market. Why not invest at home? Why outside of your market? What excited you to start investing out of town?
Well, one is to sort of somewhat travel, but I mean, even then, when things were locked down, how the journey started is I never knew that you could actually refi your current property and buy multiple properties. I started learning when things locked down. I started following a bunch of, taking weekend workshops here and there, and that's when I learned that you could actually refi your current home and leverage that and buy existing properties. So I was joined a bunch of Facebook groups. From there, I was able to start networking, finding potential partners, analyzing deals. And then from there, I was able to, trigger and, execute a few transactions, actually one in Kitchener and also one in New Brunswick as well, with another partner being
Nice.
the capital partner there.
So what advice would you have to someone who's investing out of their market where maybe you don't really understand even the street it's on, like how do you feel comfortable putting your money in these places that you've never actually been to or touched?
And so I think what I've learned throughout this journey now, over the last 2-3 years now, I think it's being able to build a team, any market you want to get into. At the end of the day, you want to be able to sleep at night. And if you can have a great team, so that starts from the contractor to the property manager. If that's all working well for you, you can get along with any, issues that come up. You can easily say that you can have trust and credibility in that team. So that's what
Yeah.
allowed me to, pretty much get outside of my home area and invest in other cities and other provinces altogether.
Yeah, because one thing that I've heard time and time again with people who've come on the podcast is it forces you to keep your hands out of it. I'm sure there was times where you wish you could go down there and paint a wall or something to just try to move the project, but it's like, I can't. It's 2,000 kilometers away, or it's a 5-hour flight and a $500 round trip. It's not worth it. I'm going to just trust the people on the ground to do it for you. Did you ever have that moment where you just wanted to get down there and do something about it?
Not necessarily. I think being able to get on these calls frequently with the team, I was getting, weekly updates, sometimes daily with my team. So any issues that were coming up, something that had to, unexpected surprise that came up when they were, building a foundation. So those are the things we addressed and we discussed, and we, decided if it was something worth doing. So I think being accountable and having weekly or daily updates is what allowed me to be, where I am. And I think being able to work remotely and able to attend these calls virtually, I think is things change. I think this whole era of being able to work remotely, I think this will happen 10 years from now. But I think because of COVID, this is what allowed us to come together and just learn.
Yeah, like stuff like this. People weren't really adopting it until they were kind of forced to adopt it. And I think it's been beneficial. There are some studies about like too many Zoom meetings and stuff like that, but
Yeah.
for the most part, let's just assume that it's like cell phones. It's a necessary evil on some level. So, for the benefit of the listeners, tell us a little bit about where you're at right now in your real estate journey. What's your main investing strategy?
So I've come a long way. I think there's always opportunity to learn. I think you never want to stop learning. I think that means just reading books, listening to podcasts, networking. I think even during COVID, or I think started opening up, I've been fortunate to attend a lot of networking events.
Hmm.
Sometimes too much for me to even handle. I think you need want to go to the places where you're going to be in a room where there's other people that you can learn and grow with. So I
Hmm.
think that's what I've learned during this journey. For me now, what I'm working on is I want to get into doing a few flips, being the active partner, since that I've
Yeah.
been able to build a team out in those respective markets. And one way of doing that is being able to showcase some of the projects I've done in the past, whether that be legal conversion suites, a straight flip. So those are some of the things we've done in the past, and being able to
Hmm.
get that recognition and finding partners. So I think what I've learned is also being able to you're also marrying that partner when you're doing a JV deal with that person. So if
Yeah.
the numbers are going to be after, but I think it's the key is building long-term relationships. So that is the key, and you're able to work well together. Everything else is history then.
Yeah, because there is a certain amount of it's like you're having a baby together, especially when you're on title together. You're like, well, both of our names are on the birth certificate of this deal. So who's responsible? What happens if we die? Who's going to take care of this thing? And so it really does become a bit of a business marriage. So um let's rewind a little bit and let's get back to the first deal. Like what was your first jump into the pool?
So my first acquisition, it was with a partner. Pretty much the idea was pitched on one of the Facebook groups. It was a rent-to-own opportunity out in a suburb of Winnipeg, Manitoba.
Hmm.
Looking at the numbers, it made sense. It was starting out in my journey. I was able to get pre-qualified with a lender, and from there we were able to execute. I mean, there was a lot of back and forth initially, just getting to know the person, I think.
Hmm.
And from there, once we aligned with our goals and what we're looking to do, it was an easy transaction to occur. Um,
Hmm.
so even till this day, we constantly talk with our partners. We're always looking to see if there's any issues. As they're going through the renovations, this particular opportunity, the first one referring to, was actually a turnkey opportunity as a rent to own. So it wasn't really, capital needed to do any renovations. It's just coming in with a down payment, being able to qualify for the mortgage, and that was it.
Hmm. Yeah, rent to own's great. The cash on cash numbers are always pretty good as long as you can be whether you're the mortgage holder or whether you bring cash to be the mortgage holder. I think it's kind of like being the bank. You're financing, you're taking a bet on someone who couldn't get financing at the bank, and as long as you do your numbers, I think they can be. Um, there's a lot of profit centers in the rent to own structure. So, um, you know, right now you've been doing a lot of lending, but you're moving towards the flip game. What what do you foresee being some challenges as you adopt a slightly different strategy because you're going from a kind of a passive partner now to becoming the active partner? Is there any concerns you have about that transition, or how are you preparing yourself?
No, definitely. So I think the key is to hone into the markets you want to work in.
Mhm.
And that starts with having the great team. So I think once you have the team going for you, the next thing is to analyze deals. So I think being able to find, off-market deals is something I'm working on when I look at these
Mhm.
markets.
Mhm.
Build good relationships with these realtors, because sometimes they'll be able to send you deals that they have that you're buying below market value.
Mhm.
You're able
Mhm.
to add some cosmetic or minor renovations, and then from there you can put it for sale on the market.
Mhm.
It's tough right now with the way the market is going. We're hoping for some rebound in 2024, and nobody has a crystal ball, but the way things are going and with inflation cooling off now, there's definitely opportunity for people to get back in the game. I think this is the people are saying this is actually the right time to buy right now, is when there's
Mhm.
some desperate sellers that are looking to get out because for whatever reason, right, they can't afford the payments. There's been some family issues, so
Yeah.
because of that, there's an opportunity to get in. And I think what I've also learned is building relationships with wholesalers, because wholesalers will be the ones that have access to those deals.
Mhm.
So whether that'll be locally here, out east or out west, I think being able to zone into one or two markets is what will allow me to succeed.
Yeah, definitely. It is a deal game, especially with flipping. Wholesalers, it's nice to work with wholesalers because they can bring you the deal for maybe 10 or 20 grand over. And there's still some meat on the bones most times, right? So,
Absolutely.
um, what what are you doing right now to finance these deals that are coming up?
So right now I've been showcasing some of the work we've done on our projects page. I have a group called Estate Grow that I've created with the partner of mine out west. We're
Mm-hmm.
just showcasing some of the deals we've done or the transactions we've done, including the legal suite conversions. From there, we're hoping to find capital partners that way that want to just invest passively or just getting their feet wet into the space. Because I remember I was that partner once upon a time when I first joined. So
Mm-hmm.
being able to find capital that way will allow us to get in and do these deals. I think what I've learned now, there's a lot of capital out there. It's just being able to go out there and find those partners and being able to execute those deals.
Yeah, finding the right partner is always a key thing. I've always found, especially in the flipping game, that the money and how you do the money can be the biggest difference because there's always going to be overages, and there's always going to be unexpected, like you open a wall and there's a pipe you didn't even know was there, and now we're rerouting a pipe because we want our island there. But the money has always been the thing that either helps or kills the deal. So make sure that that the money that you're looking at is going to be conducive, because sometimes things go too long. That was my one of my main businesses when I got started, was flipping property. And the better the money, the better the opportunity and the pressure coming off. If you've got this high money interest just eating you up, it can really like force you to put out a product that maybe isn't ready yet. So um, once we got some good line of credit money, that was really nice, where we had an investor at a $2 million line of credit, and we could go out and buy without feeling like, oh, it's going to be 15%. I think we had it at like 9 or 8%, and that's pretty good for fast turn money. So yeah, if you're out there looking, if you're someone who's in flipping or thinking about flipping, make sure the money can be the difference, guys, out there. So
Oh, that's what I've
um
learned as well. I think holding costs are another big thing of the pie. When I first did my first acquisition out west, is we actually closed on that deal privately, and
mm,
during COVID, there was a lot of challenges getting. Well, the supply was there. Sorry, we had a supply issue during that time, and everything started getting
mhm,
expensive. And then there was delays in getting permits, and then as a result, we were going over budget in a lot of our areas. So more importantly is your holding costs, because if you're especially when you're having private money, if you don't have a game plan in place, it's going to eat away at your profits.
mhm.
And I
I
think being
can
able to literally
remember. Yeah, go ahead, sorry.
so that's the takeaway essentially, is being able to, you want to be conservative with your numbers as well when you're building out the analysis, and then that way we can show that to the partner. There may be some risk, but at the end of the day, you want to be able to get in quickly, have the team going, and then have a proper exit strategy.
Yeah, I can remember during the supply shortage, there was like no doors at Home Depot. There was
Yeah.
just no doors. I was like, how are we supposed to replace the
Yeah.
doors in this rental? There's no doors on the shelf. We had to go to a Habitat for Humanity and find us a used door, because they just, when's the next set of doors? Oh, 5 days. Okay, well, we'll find a door somewhere else. So yeah, the supply chain, and then it compounds, like you're saying, the money doesn't care whether there's doors on the shelves or not. You signed the term, and you're gonna have to navigate that term. So what are you doing right now to raise money from your existing contacts, people that you've already networked with?
One thing I've learned now as well, reaching out to your close, like whether that be their family and friends that they just want to invest in real estate.
Mm,
Also, I was also on that other side where I had our RSPs funds that we could use to loan out and that could be used as a mortgage. So
mm-hmm,
anybody that has our RSPs now, I'm usually targeting those individuals as well, whether that be family, friends, co-workers that just want to be starting out and they have no idea about real estate. If they
mm-hmm,
want to just make double digit returns while they're still keeping their full-time job, those some of the ways I'm pitching those deals to potential investors as they're looking to get in.
mm-hmm. Yeah, just staying connected to them. So, um, what are you doing to expand the network beyond those particular family and friends?
I was at an event about a month and a half ago. Leveraging social media is something that we should be blessed with, I think, because we didn't
Hmm.
have this back in the day. So being able to showcase some of the information or some of the things you've done is what will allow potential partners to come on board. But just making yourself known out there, like this is what you're doing, this is what you're looking to do, and this is how you can help them grow their, their base as well. Being able to invest hands off passively earning double-digit returns.
Yeah, definitely. Because before it was just YouTube and then maybe Twitter, and then now all of a sudden, like I realized the other day how many of my phone calls are video calls. Like it's almost half and half where you're like, should I call someone or should I just video call them? And
Hmm.
I remember back in the 80s, everyone was like, every movie was like video calls and we're all on video phones. And I'm like, that's the network's never going to get there. But now, I would say like at least half of my phone calls are video calls. So it's really like the rich media of our connectivity is allowing us to be, even though if we feel closer, we certainly can feel separated from people, even though we're seeing their faces all the time. But I think the video is certainly an advantage that we can utilize when we're raising capital. Because like, look at my face. We're on Zoom here. We're doing this right now.
Of
In
course.
back in the day, it would have been like a phone interview, and there'd be no video because you'd have to come to the studio and use the fancy cameras. But now, for all intents and purposes, this is as good as it you would have gotten in say like 10 years ago. So,
Oh, absolutely.
um, so on that note with social media, what sorts of things are you doing to build that like no trust relationship that people need to really invest significant capital with you? What sort of strategies are you employing with your social media?
One thing I've also learned when I was at that conference about a month and a half ago is being able to do short, 60-second, 2-minute reels of
Hmm.
some of the strategies that you're working on, ways that people can invest their money, hard-earned money, and earn double-digit returns. The other
Mm.
platform, what a lot of people are, not speaking about is TikTok. I think TikTok has blown up like crazy. Being able
Yeah,
to just post and, every day you'll be able to get a few followers just by adding those keywords into your your presentations during those
yeah,
reels.
it's
I think
definitely growing quickly.
absolutely.
So do you find that you're getting more leads from certain social media? Like if you could only pick one to use from here on out. And I said, you're only allowed to have one social media account. Which one would you recommend?
Definitely Instagram for sure. Instagram is
Yeah.
it's getting more popular now, I believe, versus Facebook. I mean, back in the day, Facebook was mainly used to like wish people had a happy birthday, but
Hmm.
also with Facebook as
Still.
well. Yeah, it still is. It still is. But when I was at an event this past weekend, I was at a flipping summit, being able to just create videos even on Facebook. I mean, they're both the same
Hmm.
company now, so if you post on
Yeah,
one's
it's a little
page,
weird like that,
it
the
gets automatically on the other page.
they need to like, I don't know what they got to do, but it's like weird that they're owned by the same thing, and are they competing with each other? Like what's going on?
Yeah.
But I have found, on this podcast that 80 to 90% of the people that come in, they're using Instagram as their like business card, their point of contact. Because there's no questioning at so and so. Like what are you going to use that for? There's nothing else. That's the like calling card of Instagram. So it really allows people to like directly find you. There's no question because you could have something really obscure, like with some year of birth in it and stuff like from an old account, but they get you right down to the person you're trying to find. Because sometimes people will put in like John Smith in Facebook, they're going to get a huge list of all these people named John Smith. But if it was like John Smith or 82 at John Smith 82, boom, you're right directly to them. So, um, yeah, it's definitely shifting gears. One question I like to ask is the old, unfair advantage with Robert Kiyosaki's book there. What comes easy to you that other people might find difficult to do?
And speaking of that book, Rich Dad Poor Dad, that's actually one of the first books I read during my journey. I think when, like I said, when COVID hit, we were able to
Mm,
work remotely. Yeah, everything was locked down, and that's what still, instills in my head is that the quadrants, the four quadrants, being on
mm-hmm.
the left side or the right side, and being able to continue working, it's great. But I remember at the end of the day, you have to look out for yourself and build your
Mm-hmm.
business. But I think the other takeaway that you mentioned, the whole Instagram piece, is being able to build a brand. If you can build a
Mm-hmm.
brand where somebody can, reach out and they see a clip today and then, after a week, they'll be like, hey, I remember seeing that person and I want to reach out to him and see if we can work together. So I
Like
think being
it's
able to
working
build,
for you into the future. Like
of
right
course,
now, you could be doing something else and someone could be on your brand absorbing it, right?
of course. Yeah.
Yeah, my mentor used to say, live as a brand or die as a commodity. And
Wow,
so
powerful.
if yeah, if you're not branding yourself, it's kind of like the 4 liter of milk that's in your fridge. Like, what brand is it, guys? Who knows? But it's milk. But we know very particularly like what kind of cheese we have and what kind of you know, pop and chips. Those are very branded items, very packaged, very branded, and
Of course.
people know the difference and they pick the difference. And that's really it, is, you know, live as a brand or die as a commodity, especially in real estate, because there's no shortage of people out here doing this and getting into this and disappearing from it. It's the constant exchange. So on that note, if people want to connect with you, they want to find out more, they want to start looking at some of your deals, what should they do? How do they find you?
I definitely on Instagram, there's a page you follow. It's called Estate Grow, and
Mm-hmm.
that's where we have where I have some of the previous projects I've done in the past.
Like
So if you
at
look,
Estate Grow.
correct.
Perfect. Perfect. Any other ways that you want people to connect with you?
That would say that was the best way for sure. You can DM me for sure,
Mm-hmm.
and then we can definitely have a conversation and see if there's a fit for we can definitely work together.
Cool. Cool. Yeah, definitely. I really appreciate your time. I think you gave a lot of people. So I always like hearing from people who are investing out of market, because that's a totally underutilized thing, especially for people in major markets like, you know, Texas or Ontario. There's opportunity far enough away. You just gotta like take a look and take a chance, because it might be just too expensive to work in your market, especially when you're starting, right? So I really appreciate
Somebody
your insight.
somebody
Go
made
ahead.
that joke like it's a 4-hour trek if you drive from here to Windsor. I'm not really familiar with the Windsor market, so I mean I could take a 4-hour flight to Edmonton, and
Hmm.
since because I've been able to build a great team out there, people I can trust and work with. And then I was talking to another colleague who wants to get into the US now. You can even then take a 4-hour flight to Texas and you
Hmm.
don't have to worry about the winter anymore. So that's my long-term vision, is to get into the US market.
Hmm.
And Texas, everybody's been talking about that lately because there's just so much
Hmm.
more supply. You can get something at a fraction of the dollar compared to what you can get in our country. So it's definitely an
Hmm.
opportunity. It's just getting out there and making yourself known.
Yeah, 4 hour drive or 4 hour flight. You pick your poison. I like
There you
the
go.
flight because maybe they'll come and bring me some free drink and some chips, you know,
That's another reason
something
to
like
get away
that.
as well from your hometown, right? It's just
Yeah, it's like, and you probably write it off. There's bonuses to, you know, taking a flight and take the kids and the family down to wherever you're going and skip the winter. And, you know, that's definitely the dream for a lot of investors.
no, for sure.
Well, I really appreciate your time. And until next time, guys, we'll catch you on the next episode.
Thank you. Appreciate it, Bryce.
Hey there, I really hope you enjoyed that episode. And as always, if you want to listen to more daily interview content, make sure you subscribe. And if you're an active real estate investor and you're doing deals and you'd like to get featured on this show, then just head over to daveinterviewyou.com. Now at moneypartnerformula.com, we help real estate investors to create a process for predictably getting capital so they can do more deals without relying on hard money lenders or the banks. We do this by building them a private capital marketing system. Now, if you want help turning yourself into a big money capital attraction machine, then book a call with our team to see how we can help. Just visit moneypartnerformula.com to find out more. All right, take care, and we'll see you on the next interview.